So according to our own young Masook, people close to LaVar say that his comments to Bleacher Report about the Lakers coaches being soft on Lonzo weren't intended to criticize the staff, but rather to say they have permission to go harder on his son. Stephen A.
Yes, Molly, forgive me for interjecting, but you mispronounced the name of a colleague of mine that I respect.
Masook?
His name is Young Misuk. Young Misuk. That's his name. That's how it's pronounced. I just thought I wanted to throw that out there, Max. I thought it was me looking out for my former colleague at the New York Daily News in New York City.
I don't know what is happening right now, but I'm not
good to pronounce.
Okay? Just wanted to make sure.
It is good to pronounce people's names properly.
That's right. I just wanted to point that out. All right. Now, back to LaVar.
Yeah.
Okay? What was your question, Molly? I apologize.
Are the comments inbounds or out of bounds?
You know, normally I'm inclined to say out of bounds because obviously LaVar Ball has no business sitting there and talking about what the Lakers should and shouldn't be doing. And I think that Luke Walton's response was apropos and right on the money. However, considering how bad Lonzo has been in terms of his lack of aggression, not just his shooting, but his lack of aggression, if anybody would know how to twist and turn and jab at him in a way that could get him going, I think his dad does. Now, that's not to sit up there and say that I'm co-signing or condoning, you know, his father saying anything. I'm only talking about specifically what he said about how to get inside his son's head. He would have some insight in that. I don't like it, but at the same time, it's like, hey, I mean, this is a situation where he's the number 2 overall pick, and the daddy, being the way that he is, probably has some insight into his son that Luke and others don't have yet. And I think you have to take that into consideration. You don't want to encourage this man to continue running his mouth, even though it's not going to make a difference to him anyway. But you do have a license to sort of peel for what he's saying as to whether or not it's true or it's something that would work. He does have some insight into Lonzo that others may not have. That I will say.
Look, LaVar is going to LaVar. God bless him. You know, what would we do without him? But he, and here he even clarified later, the way it's going to be interpreted, people aren't always thinking, like, if I say this, I'm actually throwing that person under the bus. Stephen A., you and I and others have been thrown under the bus, and it hasn't even been the person's intention, right? But you realize, hold on, if you're saying that about that person, you're kind of dissing that person. So he's just talking about his son. It comes off like he's kind of taking shots at the coaching staff. He clarifies, I'm not taking shots at the coaching staff. He's got to think, though, of what he's really saying. Forget about misconstruing anything. There's a rookie on the Lakers who doesn't need his father there to motivate him to be aggressive. There's a rookie in Philadelphia. I know he's hurt his first year, but he's a rookie technically. Doesn't need anyone there, his mom, dad, no one there to tell him he needs to be aggressive or to push his buttons to be a great player. What is LaVar really saying about Lonzo? That it takes certain circumstances and a very specific way of pushing him to get him to be the good version of Lonzo. That's actually who he's throwing under the bus is Lonzo. Not because he's saying like, not the coaches, well, you don't know how to do it, but his own son, he's saying like, he's not like all the other rookies or many other rookies who can just excel. He needs to be pushed and prodded a certain way. You're being too easy on him. That's the helicopter dad. That's the helicopter parent. That's the guy or the parent that's like on the sidelines, too much on the kid. And you have to ask yourself, it's not just like living vicariously. You have to ask yourself, the comment they're really making about their child, the reason they're like that is they can't just let the kid do their thing. And here, it feels to me, and it makes logical sense, LaVar's actually taking shot at Lonzo, saying not just that he's not being as good as he can be, but it takes these special arrangements for him to be as good as he can be. It's a bad look for Lonzo.